these issues, I know, matters at heart. What exactly would you say would be at the heart of the organization?
I think we've been doing development programs in Africa for 20 years now, and one of the big topics for us is sustainability. For us as a nation, we've been on this path since the 70s, basically, where we said no to nuclear power and adopted wind. So for us, even at the consumers and the citizens, sustainability is really becoming a creed, right? So we feel by now we've got a lot of knowledge to offer to African partners such as KM and KEPRO and other good partners in the region.
And how is the reception of that?
I think it's very good. I think there's a brand around Denmark as a global front runner. So people, they see, okay, they got something to offer. It's valuable. And what we do are knowledge partnerships. So we transfer knowledge to local partners. In this case, it's been a lot about the circularity and waste management. How can you really design products from the get-go so they get a second life and a third life? You don't design for this being wasted right after you empty the juice can, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And James, I see you're wearing the SDG goals lapel pin. Yes. And it's sort of also is in line with the Sustainable Waste Management Act of 2022, which you spoke about in passing. Yes. But you can talk to us about what it basically depicts.
Okay. And that essentially speaks to what we do as KEPRO, where we are trying to support Kenya's realization of a circular economy. And you have to go through the process of coming from a linear economy through to a recycling economy before you realize the true north, which is a circular economy. So the Sustainable Waste Management Act under Section 13, and more particularly 13.1 and 13.2, is introducing what we are calling the extended producer responsibility policy approach and making it mandatory for all producers introducing any product into the Kenyan market to comply with the EPR obligations. So EPR in itself, you can comply either as an individual entity or through a compliance scheme, a collective compliance scheme such as the Kenya Extended Producer Responsibility, where we of course now support producers to comply with the law as far as the EPR requirements are concerned.
Okay.
Yes.
And those are important points that you raised. And again, back to you, Klaus, the EPR, that is the Extended Producer Responsibility, is one, of course, that the EU has been keen about. And talk to us about what Kenya can borrow, especially from the EU context in regarding EPR.
I mean, in a nutshell, EPR is about shifting the responsibility for waste management to the producers. So the producers have to take that responsibility upon them to control their waste and track where it's going, right? So it doesn't end up in landfills or waterways. And I think in the EU, so the EU is basically an internal market of 27 countries. So now we have directives for waste management for all manufacturers and producers in the union. There are variations from country to country, but what it does is that you cannot, as a manufacturer, not track, let's say, your PET bottles. So in Denmark, we introduced a take-back system. So now you can drink your Coca-Cola bottle, return it to the store, and you get some M-Pesa in return. And that's a good incentive for the consumer. So we actually had, I think, 90% of rate of people returning used PET bottles to the supermarket, for example. So that's one of the initiatives we introduced maybe 15 years ago.
And yesterday, I attended a briefing by the Nordic Council of Ministers regarding the INC, that is the summit that is going on, this week. And he mentioned something, regarding something basic such as, earbuds, that they're the ones that have the cotton at the end. In between that stick is recyclable nowadays in Europe. Do you think that as Africa, as Kenya specifically, we are headed to a place where not only are we discussing the plastic bags, but also, adopting such technologies?
And I think it's a